Believe it or not, all of these records behind me, all 2,000 of them, give or take, have been cataloged on Discogs. And today, I'm going to do a deep dive on how I make sure I add the right item, the right version to my collection. I'm going to show you how to do it. It doesn't matter if you are new to collecting music or if, like me, you've been doing it for decades. This video is for you. The first thing to know is the terminology around how Discogs organizes albums. I'm talking about master releases versus versions. A master release gathers two or more matching releases together under a parent category. It can be thought of as a folder that houses two or more Discogs releases. Items with the same album title, the same track list, and artwork, but were maybe released on different labels or on different formats like CD and vinyl. Well, those would wrap up into that master release folder. Step it up a level from there, and then you have the artist, which can be viewed as, once again, a folder which gathers all of the different master releases and versions released by that artist together in one area. So, categorically, here is Belle and Sebastian. You have If You're Feeling Sinister under one master release and version, and you have The Boy with the Arab Strap as a master, and then the versions underneath. When you look at the artist page, you can see that there's a few different categories involved. They're separated into albums, singles, and compilations. Taking a look at these two pressings of The Boy with the Arab Strap, I can look at the spine and see that one is on their original label, Jeepster Records, and the other is on their US label, Matador. So these would have the same master release, but would have different versions within the master release folder. If I go to the artist page for Belle and Sebastian and scroll down to the releases, I can see that it's their third album, and that this master has 54 different versions from within. So, how do you find the right one? Well, we're going to cover that in just a moment. But before I dive into the more advanced methods, here's a question for you. Did you know that you can actually add a release straight from the order page? So if you're like me, you occasionally buy records from the Discogs marketplace. And when you navigate to the order page, there's an option that allows you to add the items you purchased straight into your collection. It's so easy. Just don't forget to leave feedback for the seller as well. Alright, so not everybody wants to do that, and not every record that you buy will be from Discogs. So let's go deeper. I'll start by showing you what I look for on a record, and then I'll go deeper with an example using the mobile app, followed by another more complicated one using the web-based version of Discogs.com. So here's what I look for. When I have an album like this, aside from the obvious things like format, vinyl, CD, cassette, and artist and release name, you'll want to look for things like dates, the type of sleeve, aka is it a standard sleeve or a gatefold? You'll look for barcodes, vinyl color, record labels, things along those lines. The more versions a release has, the more items you may need to look for to find the right version. This could mean going as deep as looking for visible variations on the labels themselves, or looking at the matrix and runout numbers stamped or etched in between the grooves and the label in what they call the dead wax. So let's look at how I would go about adding the right version on the mobile device. With this, I'm going to open up the Discogs app. Under the Explore tab, I'm going to click the search box, and I'm going to start typing in the artist, or the release, or a blend of both. And I select the artist's name. From there, I can scroll down to the album, single, or compilation in question, and select that. I have now selected the master release page. If I scroll down, I can see that there are 54 versions on 18 formats by 49 labels in 11 countries. I can click See All 54 Versions, and this will allow me to filter and begin filtering out ones that are not my version. Okay, here's a hot tip. I always like to start filtering by format first. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select vinyl. Apply filter. And now I've narrowed it down to 21 versions. If I look at this, I can see the date of 1998. I do see a barcode, but I'm not going to worry about scanning it because I want to go deeper and show you guys how I would do this without that. And I see a London address. So I'm going to say that this is either Europe or the UK, probably the UK. So if I click filter again, and I select UK, now I can see that it has narrowed it down even further. And now I only have 4 versions to sift through. Here I have a decision point. I can test adding in things like gatefold because this is a gatefold sleeve. I can add a snippet of the matrix or runout and see if that removes the other option. Or I can click into one of the versions and see if it has anything in the notes that differentiates it from the other version. In this case, let's actually do some searching. So I can click on the search versions field and type in gatefold. I do that and it just removes the white label one. So I'm down to the 2 that I knew existed in the first place. Going further, I'll want to add in some information from the runouts. What looks like Tim D masterpiece etched in there on both sides. Let's see if that does anything. Tim and masterpiece. That doesn't yield a change. So I've gone about as far as I really want to go for now. So I'm going to open up one and let's see what the notes say. If I go view more details, I can see exactly the same as this Bell and Sebastian release. However, there is a different lettering variation on center labels. And in parentheses, different font. Okay, so now this tells me I need to actually look at the photos on this release to see what they look like and if mine matches. So when I take a look, it looks pretty close. This might be it. Let's go take a look at the other one and see if it does the same. And when I look at this, I can definitely tell that this is a different font than the one on my version. So the other version it is. So I'll select that, scroll down, and click Add to Collection. Quick hint, in the future video, I'm going to go deeper into managing your collection, and that includes the different fields that appear when you click Add to your collection. I'm going to talk about how you can add additional fields and folders and more. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Discogs channel because that video will be coming up in the near future. All right, so that was an intermediate one. Only 54 copies. But what about something that's got a lot more? Well, for that, I am grabbing my favorite Beatles record, Revolver. So let's dig into this. This time we're going to do it from the desktop. So I've logged into my Discogs account, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select up here, I'm going to type in Beatles and Revolver. And I can see it has put up a few releases. This has put me onto a version. I can tell because I can go to see all versions here. Now I'm on the master release. If I scroll down, I can start my filtering right here. And of course, like I always do, I start by filtering to vinyl. I still have 547 versions to go. Oh boy. Let's get into it. Next, I'm going to go into country. I can see it says it's recorded in England, but that doesn't mean that this is a version that is UK. And here I see Made in the USA, Los Angeles, Jacksonville, Scranton, PA. So there we have it. This is a US pressing. So I'm going to toggle and say US. This narrows it down to 90. Getting better, down to 2 digits. Other things that you can look for are things like stereo versus mono. Now, the hot tip on that is here I can see stereo. I tend to take what's on the cover with a little bit of a grain of salt, especially with older pressings, older albums like this, where maybe they put a mono version into a stereo sleeve, or maybe somebody swapped it out at some point in time. I tend to go with what is on the record versus what is on the sleeve. I can see here it says stereo, so let's go ahead and filter that down. Stereo, and I'm now down to 62. Didn't necessarily drop it as far as I was hoping, so we're going to keep going deeper. Let's look at the catalog number. So this is ST-2576, and there's also the number ST1-2576. So both of those could be used to filter further. Let's try that. I'm going to do a space. I'm going to leave stereo in there, ST-2576. Hit enter, and we're down to 46. Let's try the other one. Let's try the ST space 1 for the A side or 2 for the B side, -2576. That dropped a couple more. We're down to 44. And it looks like I'm going to have to do some further digging. So I can see that the Runout does include the 1-2576, but it also includes a dash or dot A-19 and a few other things. And this B-side has 2-2576-F-20 period. So let's try those. I've already added 2-2576. I'm just going to go ahead and add to that -F-20, and let's see what that does. And now it looks like I have found my pressing. It is the Los Angeles version. So I can go ahead and select that, and now I can add it to my collection. And now I've got the Beatles album in my collection. So this has been a bit of a deeper dive on how to find the specific item that you have in your collection and how to add it to your collection in the Discogs collection tool. As I noted, in the next video, I'm going to go deeper into how to manage your collection, big or small. And this includes things like adding custom folders, adding custom fields, the Discogs valuation tool, ratings, lists, and more. I'm Andy, and I'll see you soon.